The top stories tonight in Y News. The increase in fares for public transportation, including jeepneys, buses, and TNVS, has been approved by the LTFRB.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has urged the military to support the peace process in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao.
Roads in Metro Manila would undergo a massive rehabilitation by the Department of Public Works and Highways.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States warn of a contagious virus that can leave children with permanent paralysis.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, September 16, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Hardy Delgado.
First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. called on the military to support the peace process initiatives in Mindanao, appealing to them to give the newly established regional government a chance to transition and govern. Despite this, the president reminded the soldiers to not let their guard down. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Tungko awan datu Odin in Sinsuat, Maguindanao, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., who is also the head of the Philippine Armed Forces, reminded them of the significance of their mission to help the newly established Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARMM transition. The President appealed to the troops in Maguindanao to support the current peace process.
Yung mga dati nga natin na kumakalaban sa Pilipinas, kumakalaban sa atin, kumakalaban sa inyo, ay ngayon naman ay mas magiging maayos for everyone involved na kung tayo ay magtulungan at tulungan natin sila para so that the functions of government will become ordinary in BARMM.
The military's new role, according to President Marcos, is to support the peace. They should continue doing this in order to bring about long-lasting peace in Mindanao. However, he alerted people to the spoilers, which the president claimed remain a threat to regional stability.
Yun, nandiyan pa rin ang threat sa inyo dyan. Kaya you cannot let your guard down also. You have to stay vigilant and stay careful so that this peace process, hindi naman pumutok ito. And pag kami nangyari, tigil lahat. We will have to start again and talk to everybody again. But if you can keep the peace in your areas, then that will be a big help para sa ating peacekeeping process.
The Commander-in-Chief was in Cotabato City to announce the Bangsamoro Transition Authority prior to his meeting with soldiers in Maguindanao. The President reassured the people of Bangsamoro of his administration's unwavering commitment to the peace process and urged the regional government to pass crucial laws that will institutionalize local government and ensure the welfare of the populace. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The scheduled arraignment of the suspect in the shooting of former Lamitan City Mayor Rosita Purigay has been postponed for the second time. Dante Almento tells us why.
Dr. Chow Tiao Yumol, the suspect in the shooting of former Lamitan City Mayor Rosita Purigay, has not yet submitted the result of his mental examination. As a result, the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 98 has again deferred his arraignment over the Ateneo shooting incident. Yumol's arraignment last August 4 was also reset after his camp requested a mental checkup.
The arraignment and pre-trial was reset to November 11 on account of the fact that the National Center for Mental Health did not yet submit its report as to the mental condition of accused Dr. Chow Chow Yumol.
Purigay's attorney Quirino Esguerra, revealed that the court wishes to ensure that the accused could really stand for arraignment or trial. Yumol will get his last mental examination on October 4, 2022.
The case will proceed, but it will only cause delay because the doctors of National Center for Mental Health should ascertain if he is fit to undergo trial or not.
Dr. Yumol is charged with 3 counts of murder, 1 count of frustrated murder, and violating the anti-carnapping law in connection with a shooting at Ateneo on July 24. The incident caused the deaths of Lamitan Basilan Mayor Rosita Forigay, her assistant Victor Capistrano, and Ateneo security guard Jenebin Bandiala. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the transfer of supervision of the Technical Education Skills and Development Authority or TESDA to the Department of Labor and Employment from the Department of Trade and Industry. Executive Order Number 5 emphasized that it is the national government's policy to rationalize the functional structures of agencies with complementary mandates. The president explains the move was important to promote coordination, efficiency, and organizational coherence in the bureaucracy as part of the national government's policy.
President Bongbong Marcos Jr. is considering giving government employees a rice allowance in order to ease their daily expenses in the face of rising prices for staple goods. Farmers and government employees reacted favorably to the proposal right away, but funding will still be required. Ray Palayo reports.
President Bongbong Marcos' own proposal of giving rice allowance will benefit about 1.4 million government employees. According to the Budget Department's estimate, around 6.1 to 6.8 billion pesos will be needed to pay for it next year. DBM mentioned that members of the security forces were currently receiving rice allowance. According to the Civil Service Commission, providing benefits to employees is difficult for government agencies.
Kahit may savings po kayo, kahit may income po kayo, if you are GOCCs, you cannot just declare mga anong pwedeng benefits ang ibigay kasi dapat dumadaan yan sa approval ng presidente. Kaya maraming dinidisallow ang COA, maraming nadidiscover yung COA at dinidisallow nila, pinapasole yung pera.
If the rice is sourced from the local producers, the Federation of Free Farmers said it will give farmers a sure market.
Since mas direkta po ang pagbentahan po, baka mas mura pa nga ang bigas sa mga empleyado.
The President is also considering restoring the National Food Authority's regional mandate to support an efficient value chain. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, a school-based feeding program will soon be established by the Department of Education. A component of it is the improved Nutri-Bun. Janice Hente has the story.
Despite the difficulties the COVID-19 pandemic has brought to the education sector, after more than 2 years, the Department of Education will start its school-based feeding program physically in schools. Attorney Michael Powa, DepEd spokesperson, reports that the agency will provide nutritious food to 1.59 learners this school year.
Sa ngayon, ang pinapakain natin sa school-based feeding natin ay yung mga undernourished po, no, na public elementary school students or learners.
Powa added that they would also give students enhanced Nutri-Ban at least 2 or 3 times a week. Enhanced Nutri-Ban is rich in micronutrients such as vitamin A, iron, and protein, and was developed by the Department of Science and Technology Food and Nutrition Research.
Dahil dito sa school-based feeding program, na-attract natin yung learners na manatili sa ating mga schools. So nare-reduce po natin yung mga dropout rates at maliban po sa dropout rate, syempre po, nabibigyan natin sila ng sustansya, they are nourished, and it improves yung kanilang academic performance.
DepEd will release guidelines for school-based feeding program to ensure that health and safety protocols are continued to be followed. Janice Hente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
thousands of mourners from across the United Kingdom and other parts of the world are queuing for a second full day to see the Queen's coffin. The children of late Queen Elizabeth II, headed by King Charles III, will stand vigil today on Her Majesty's lying in state. From London, United Kingdom, Joanna Ochoa will tell us the details live. Jonah, what time is the vigil of King Charles and his siblings around the Queen's coffin?
At King Charles III and his siblings will hold a vigil today at 7:30 p.m. local time at Westminster Hall, where the Queen is lying in state until her funeral on Monday, September 19. Palace officials say the vigil will be held by the King, Princess Anne, Prince Edward and Prince Andrew for 15 minutes. This would be held in addition to, but not in place of, the ongoing vigil mounted by the Household Division and bodyguards. Before this, King Charles will travel to Wales to attend a service at Llandaff Cathedral, completing his tour of the home nations. King Charles will then return to London. Meanwhile, the line of those hoping to see Queen's coffin stretched nearly 5 miles along the River Thames. A government queue tracker estimates the wait time is at least 11 hours. Hundreds of thousands are still expected to pay their respects to the late monarch ahead of her funeral on Monday. Kat?
Joanna, on the funeral of the late Queen on Monday, September 19, will there be normal operations of public transportation as well as other public services? How about businesses?
Kat, the London Underground trains will run as normal, but due to road closures, some bus routes will be affected in west and southwest of London. The Elizabeth line will also be running an extra hour to assist those returning from central London. Some businesses, shopping centres and commercial establishments will be closed in respect to the Queen's funeral. Kat?
Thank you, Joanna Ochoa, live from London, United Kingdom. Ukraine authorities found a mass burial site with more than 400 bodies in Izium that was recently recaptured from the Russian forces. Jane Robles will give us the details live. Jane?
Kath, in the southeast of the capital Kharkiv, police authorities confirmed a mass grave were seen with 440 bodies buried in one place, being the largest burial site in a big town. Serhiy Bolvinov, the chief police investigator for Kharkiv region, said some died due to airstrikes and others because of artillery fire. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, necessary actions have already begun in Izium and more information will be disclosed.
На Харківщині знайдене масове захоронення людей. Необхідні процесуальні дії там вже розпочались. Більше інформації, чіткої, перевіреної інформації має бути завтра.
President Zelensky is blaming Russian forces of the war crimes happened in Izium and other cities of Ukraine.
Буча, Маріуполь, тепер, на жаль, Ізюм. Росія всюди залишає по собі смерть і повинна за це відповідати.
Meanwhile, Russia has been constantly denying they are targeting civilians or committing war crimes. Back to you, Cass.
Thank you, Jane Robles, for that live report. The Biden administration imposed new sanctions on Russian government officials, private firms, and companies. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
The United States of America announced new wave of sanctions against Russia's military intelligence and defense industry. According to the U.S., the government and non-government firms are guilty of human rights abuses, stealing Ukrainian grain and other acts that support the invasion of Ukraine. In a statement of Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the Department of State is imposing sanctions on key Russia-installed authority figures in Ukrainian territories currently controlled by the Russian military and on 31 defense, technology, and electronics entities to further constrain Russia's advanced technology industries, and their contribution to Russia's defense industrial base. The sanctions also prevent the Russian firms from conducting business with American companies. Certain assets were also frozen as part of the sanctions. The Russian government officials and private company representatives were said to have been appointed by Russia throughout Russian-occupied Ukraine in a continued effort to destabilize the country. Many were placed in local leadership positions. Some of the Russian companies included in the sanctions included space and satellite firms and computer manufacturers. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Herlene.
Thank you, Cass. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
More reasons behind the stories when Y News returns.
Isa ang Pilipinas sa may pinakamataas na incidence rates ng cancer of the thyroid gland. Kapag hindi naagapan ang kondisyong ito, apektado ang puso, panunaw at iba pang proseso sa katawan. Alamin ang mga sintomas ng thyroid cancer at kung ano ang dapat gawin kapag nakakita ng senyales nito. Manood ng Doctors on TV ngayong linggo, alas 11 ng umaga, dito lang sa UNTV.
Tama at maling paggamit ng alcohol bilang disinfectant. Karaniwang ginagamit na disinfectant ang alcohol kung hindi agad makapaghuhugas ng kamay. Inirekomenda ng DOH ang paggamit ng 70% alcohol. Hindi inirekomenda ang mas mataas na percentage dahil kailangan ang sapat na dami ng tubig para makapatay ng mikrobyo. Ang methanol at ibang uri ng alcohol na ginagamit sa industriya ay hindi rin inirekomenda dahil makasasama ito sa kalusugan. Ang alak o alcohol beverages naman ay hindi epektibo bilang disinfectant dahil 40% lang ang taglay nito. Huwag haluan ng bleach ang alcohol dahil nakakalikha ito ng kemikal na kapag nalanghap ay makasasama sa kalusugan. A reminder from UNTV, your public service channel. Ang mga mahina ang immune system ay kasama sa high-risk na grupo kapag nagkasakit ng COVID-19. Isang paraan para mapalakas ang immune system ay ang pagkain ng prutas, gulay at fruit crops. Ang patatas ay inirekomenda ng National Nutrition Council dahil sa mataas na vitamin C nito na makatutulong magpalakas ng immune system. May taglay din itong zinc, vitamin B6 at isang uri ng alkaloids na mahalaga sa maayos na paggana ng immune system. Tandaan na ang tamang pagkain ay makatutulong labanan ang sakit. A reminder from UNTV, your public service channel.
Dapat agad sa running water for at least 20 minutes ang bahaging napaso. Takpan ng gauze kung may sugat. Huwag gagamit ng toothpaste, yelo, oil o ointment dahil mapapalala nito ang paso. Agad na pumunta sa ospital kapag nasa mukha ang paso o nalapnos ang balat. Para sa iba pang first aid tips, manood palagi ng UNTV, your public service channel.
Graters, shredders, and grinders are common kitchen culprits that can cause lacerations. Lacerations are wounds with jagged or torn edges that may be shallow or deep. For shallow lacerations, clean the wound with water and apply antimicrobial ointment or cream. For deep lacerations, stop the bleeding by applying pressure to the wound. After the bleeding stops, wash the wound with water and cover it with a clean gauze. Take the person to the nearest hospital if bleeding does not stop. The wound needs stitches. If dirt or debris cannot be removed from the wound is painful or inflamed for days. If laceration becomes smelly or discolored, the wound has not healed in 4 weeks, or if the wound becomes larger. These are basic first aid tips brought to you by UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. The Department of Public Works and Highways is looking into conducting a massive rehabilitation of national roads in Metro Manila. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
One of the major goals of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, is to reduce travel time of commuters. During the last day of the budget deliberation, DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan said the department will discuss this plan with the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority.
We are planning to undertake a massive rehabilitation program in Metro Manila, especially in the major thoroughfares.
The DPWH has a 718 billion peso budget, and the bulk of it will go to highways and road infrastructure. Meanwhile, lawmakers also asked about the programs of the DPWH with regards to ensuring road safety all across the country. Based on the data of the MMDA in 2021, there are more than 58,000 road accidents in Metro Manila roads. DPWH Secretary Bonoan assured they are also looking into the said issue.
We are undertaking po yung safety audit sa lahat ng ating mga pangunahing lansangan para malaman po natin kung nasaan yung mga black spots. We are giving this as a priority program now of the department po. You know, that I can assure you that under my watch, road safety is one area that we will look into very seriously.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, the Department of Health, or DOH, is seeing an increase in the positivity rate of COVID-19 virus in Metro Manila. According to DOH Officer in Charge Yusek Maria Rosario Vergere, the positivity rate increased to 16.4%. Metro Manila is now back to moderate risk. However, Yusek Vergere noted that the health system capacity in Metro Manila remains a low-risk classification. She said only Pasig City and Muntinlupa have reported higher admissions due to the disease. An official also adds it would take around 1 to 2 weeks to be able to fully analyze the effect and to determine whether this was caused by the easing of the wearing of face masks.
The Department of Health also sees the end of the coronavirus pandemic in the Philippines, but still urges people not to be complacent. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Department of Health concurs with the World Health Organization's earlier announcement that the end of the pandemic is already in sight. Even in the Philippines, the drop in cases in some areas and the stable low infections might be a sign that the disease is transitioning towards an end-stage condition.
We agree with Dr. Tedros. Globally, pag tinignan natin, base sa mga statistics ngayon, base sa coverage ng immunization all over the world, mukhang we are seeing the light at the end of this tunnel. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, pag tinignan natin, ako personally, and even the department feels na we are seeing na mukhang matatapos na nga, pero kailangan handa tayo.
However, Health Officer in Charge Maria Rosario Vergere stressed that COVID-19 will still be in communities even after the state of health emergency is lifted. Yusek Vergere said that we need to prepare our health system in order to finally achieve COVID-19 endemic stage. This due to the possibility of COVID-19 causing outbreak and the recording of some deaths. Once COVID infections become stable, recorded deaths are low, and the targeted population has received vaccinations, the DOH will issue an official statement recommending to the President that the country shift to an endemic stage. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, a lawmaker in the upper chamber wants to inquire the huge proposed intelligence funds for the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education once the budget deliberations begin in the Senate. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros has expressed concern over the proposed confidential funds of two government institutions for next year, the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. Both are headed by Vice President Sara Duterte. For 2023, the OVP is asking for 500 million pesos for intelligence funds, while 150 billion pesos is being proposed for DepEd. Hontiveros says intelligence gathering is not part of the main mandate of either of the two offices. She further explains that confidential funds are spared from the standard auditing process.
Ang OVP is not, by definition, nakatutok sa national security. Kaya't hindi po siya tinuturing na intelligence generating office, kundi receivers and users of intel nung ating mga totoong intel departments or agency.
The minority senator adds she will raise questions once the General Appropriations Bill reaches the Senate.
Kung ang hinihinging line item budget ay hindi naman nasa job description ng opisinang iyan, tapos malilibre pa sa usual auditing, kaya of double concern po yun.
In the budget hearings in the House of Representatives, Duterte defended the proposed intelligence funds, saying that the success of a project or program depends on very good intelligence and surveillance to target specific issues and challenges. The 5.26 trillion peso proposed national budget is being deliberated in the lower chamber. The Senate has started scrutinizing the proposed national budget this week through briefings with the economic managers of the Marcos administration. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
New developments for offshore wind towers to power millions of houses in the United States by 2035 were announced by the Biden administration. Charis Longbowen will tell us why live. Charis?
Good evening, Kat. The offshore developments announced by the Biden administration is said to deliver up to 15 gigawatts of electricity to power 5 million homes by 2035, which will provide more jobs and reduce costs of energy. They have built on their previous goal of producing 30 gigawatts of energy from fixed bottom wind towers by 2030 to power over 10 million homes and thousands of jobs. Now their current plans include building floating platforms in the Pacific Pacific Ocean off the coasts of California, Oregon, and in the Atlantic and Gulf of Maine. Currently, around the world, energy produced by offshore wind amounts to 0.1 gigawatts. The United States is taking this opportunity to become the leader of wind technology, as the Biden administration plans to produce over 50 gigawatts of fixed-bottom offshore wind. Meanwhile, about $50 million has been put forward to research in the development of the wind towers. The Energy Department reported as officials aim to reduce costs of wind energy by 70% in 2035. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Cherise Longbowen, for that live report. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, warns of a contagious virus that can cause permanent paralysis on children. Marvy Delfin will give us the details live. Yes, Marvy?
Path positive cases for the enterovirus strain EVD68 is now higher compared to previous years, according to healthcare providers and the CDC. While it usually causes acute respiratory illness, the enterovirus infection has been linked to acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM, a rare but serious condition causing muscle weakness and sometimes leading to permanent paralysis. The CDC has not received increased reports of AFM cases since the start of the year, but suggests increased vigilance in the coming weeks as EVD68 respiratory illnesses usually precede cases of AFM. Common symptoms of the EVD68 among children include cough, shortness of breath, wheezing, along with reports of fever among half of the known cases. Children with asthma are more likely to require medical attention. The median age of children affected by EVD68 in 2018 was 3 years, but the CDC notes that children and adolescents of all ages can be affected. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Marvy Delfin, reporting live. World-famous tennis player Roger Federer announced his retirement from the Association of Tennis Professionals, or ATP Tour, and Grand Slams after playing more than 1,500 matches over 24 years. In an Instagram post, Federer announced that he has been presented with various challenges over the past 3 years, where he obtained injuries and had to go through surgeries, and the 41-year-old player has realized his body's capacities and limits. With this, he just the memories and joy he has given to many people. Throughout his career, Federer has won the Australian Open 5 times and Wimbledon 8 times. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Tumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board approves fare increase in some public utility vehicles. The new fare rates will take effect first week of October. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why live. Yes, Asher.
Arlene, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board recognizes the need to raise the fare of public utility vehicles amid oil price hike. LTFRB Chairperson Chela Garafil explains this as the board approves the petitions for fare increase filed by some transport groups since early this year. The LTFRB chief emphasizes that the petitions have gone through thorough consideration and were consulted to the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA. The board also met for several times with transport and commuter groups, Department of Energy, and other stakeholders.
We tried to really get the right balance doon sa ating naging resolution, and we hope na at least with this decision, address natin yung need ng ating mga drivers and operators, and at the same time, hindi naman tayo magkakaroon ng malaking impact doon sa mga ating mananakay at sa ating ekonomiya.
Effective 15 days after its publication, or the first week of October, traditional public utility jeepneys will have a minimum fare of 12 pesos from the current 11 peso rate for the first 4 kilometers, with succeeding kilometers increased to 1 peso and 80 centavos per kilometer from the current 1 peso and 50 centavo rate. Modern PUJs, however, will have a minimum fare of 14 pesos from the current 13 peso rate for the first 4 kilometers, with succeeding kilometers increased to 2 pesos and 20 centavos per kilometer from the current 1 peso and 80 centavo rate. For city and provincial buses, the board only approved a 2 peso uniform base fare increase for the first 5 kilometers, while the succeeding kilometer fare were increased to 35 to 50 centavos, depending on the type of bus. The LTFRB also increased the flag down rate of taxis and transport network vehicle service by 5 pesos. However, there will be no increase in the succeeding kilometers for both taxi and the TNVS. Garafil further explains that they approved all the said petitions, but with lower rate increase to avoid more serious impact to the stakeholders.
Hindi natin talaga binigay lahat yung kanilang hiningi kasi nga we have to consider then the biggest factor ng aming decision is the commuter, yung kanilang ability to bear this burden kasi talagang ang mga mananakay ang sasagot lahat ng pagtaas na ito. Kaya that's a big factor and also yung effect ng ating increase sa inflation at sa ating ekonomiya.
Arlene, the LTFRB reminds the public, commuters, and PUV personnel that the 20 centavo or 20% discount rather for senior citizens, persons with disability, and students will still be effective. Arlene?
Thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr. reporting live from Quezon City.
Meanwhile, motorcycle riders will become road emergency responders. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, signed a memorandum of understanding with taxi ride-hailing services Angkas and Joyride to provide trained motorcycle emergency responders. According to MMDA Acting Chair Carlo Di Mayuga, Angkas and Joyride will provide 25 riders each in order to respond to road traffic accidents or other emergencies within Metro Manila. These riders will undergo training conducted by the MMDA in coordination with the Philippine Red Cross and the Department of Health. Motorcycle emergency responders will be equipped with first aid kits and other supplies needed for medical emergencies. They will respond to traffic accidents in EDSA, C5, Commonwealth, Rojas Boulevard, Quezon Avenue, Osmeña Highway, and Marcos Highway. Our kasambahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 19, it says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." reasons behind the news, September 16, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harding Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.